Awesome. Thanks everyone for joining Syelo today. Sachin will be here introducing InterviewVector. We'll be doing the quick demo. We will be able to answer questions. Feel free to put them in the chat. Feel free to come off mute and ask questions as well. We're also going to give Sachin some time to ask the group questions towards the end. But we'll go ahead and kick off. Thank you so much for joining us today, Sachin. Feel free to do a quick intro and then you can start your demo.
Thanks, Sabrina. Thanks for setting this up. Hi, guys. This is Sachin. I'm the founder of InterviewVector. Quick intro about me. I'm an engineer turned recruiter or a founder, to be honest now. Graduated in 2016 from one of the top engineering colleges in India, then started as an engineer for a couple of years, then realized that, then had a chance to go to Eightfold, which is a HR tech unicorn. And there I realized that, hey, HR tech is so vast, HR domain is so vast, and there are a lot of things that should be done which people are not taking care of. And that's how the idea of InterviewVector came up in 2020 in the middle of pandemic, where we started with basically helping in the tech hiring. So the idea was simple that, hey, we want to solve tech hiring, and it has been fruitful past 5 years. We are a small lean team based out of US and India, working with almost 400 plus companies in helping them screen their tech talent. Before I go into the presentation mode, just to let you know, I have been told that I speak too fast. So if I do let me know so I can speak, adjust my speed. Cool, awesome. Just going to share my screen. Let me know if you guys can see it. I'm just going to present full screen. Can you see the entire screen?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Cool. So at InterviewVector, what we are doing is we are helping I'll come to this slide later. I think coming to the problem statement, the problem statement is very simple. Tech hiring, the way companies do or recruiters do tech hiring today is almost similar as the way it used to be done in 2010. That you source candidates, chase them, convince them that, hey, our company is so great, this is the problem statement, there is so much growth opportunities and everything. And once you are able to convince those candidates, you put them into your interview loop. And in every tech company, there are multiple interviews that happen during the interview loop, which takes ages. The average time to close a position is 2 months, and from first to fourth round of interview, to complete all the interviews, companies end up doing 2 to 3 weeks. And given the market is so competitive, if you are not moving fast, your competitor will. The candidate is not going to just rely on your company to get the desired position. The candidate is going to compete with apply to other companies as well. And that's where you lose top talent because your screening process is not faster. And then there are other problems as well, that the process is biased. A lot of good candidates gets rejected because of all the biases and everything, and they end up joining somewhere else and perform really good in their career. So this is the problem statement that we are solving. Because of all these issues, candidates drop off or accept other offers in other companies, or under pressure. Sometimes it happens as well that the position has been open for 2 months, 3 months, and then as a recruiter, as a hiring manager, you end up giving crazy amount of salaries or inflated offers to the candidates to just close the role on time, or even lead to wrong hires. And the cost of wrong hires, I'm not going to go into that. Everyone knows that. And then the time to close a position average across the globe is 2 months. It can be 10 days up or down, but it's generally the trend. Any questions? Or if you have any questions, feel free to drop in between. I would want it to be more conversational discussion rather than a one-sided. Cool. I'm assuming no one has. So what we are doing? So I'll come. What was done in 2010 to 2020? What was done is that companies like HackerRank, Codility, TestGorilla, companies like these came up. Everyone started sending automated tests to candidates. And in the early stages, candidates were, hey, the process was made faster as well because of automated testing, automated screening, and everything. But what happened over the time is that because of the competition, a lot of candidates ended up. I'm just going to skip now. Just a second. Okay. A lot of candidates, they didn't complete the test, or the time that they were taking to complete those tests were 1 to 2 weeks. And second, a lot of this was done majorly for junior candidates. Eventually, senior candidates or later hire, they stopped giving the test. So what we are doing now is we are building interview as a service solution, where what we have is we have an Uber for interviews kind of model, where we have 500 plus interviewers with us on our payroll, not payroll, but engaged with us, and they conduct interviews on our customers' behalf. So what happens is, let's say you are a recruiter at XYZ company, and you have a pipeline of 100 candidates, 50 candidates, or 20 candidates. And once you have screened their resumes, talk to them, told them about the opportunity and everything. Once you have convinced that they might be a good hire, then you would want to run them through the interview process. You will send them, instead of sending them to your own engineers to conduct the first round or second round of interviews, we provide that first layer or second layer of interviews, where you outsource these interviews to professionals on our platform to get an outsider view that, hey, how are these candidates doing? There is no bias. The process is faster because now you can scale even 100 interviews or 200 interviews within a day, or you can schedule interviews back to back. Earlier, when you were doing it internally, there was a limitation that your own engineers were busy and other things. And trust me, all the I have talked I've spoken to almost 1,000 plus recruiters so far, and everyone says that, hey, chasing the interviewers availability and the candidates availability is a pain in the ass. And if you have to schedule 2 to 3 rounds back to back, good luck for that. So that's what the problem is. And but now you can schedule the first round, second round, third round back to back with us, and eventually send the top 2, top 3 candidates only to your own engineering team. Yes, Mike.
Is InterviewVector only screening applicants?
What do you mean by applicants here?
People that apply to the company versus sourced candidates.
So it's both. Any candidate that you are sourcing, so it can be any candidate, but we are a screening tool. So be it an applicant, be it the candidate that you have sourced or your team has sourced, you can send them our way and we will interview them. And again, this is not an automated screening. This is a one-on-one interview. So we have a live interviewer, a human interviewer, who will take the interview of the candidate using AI. Yes, Brad.
So is this meant to kind of save time for your first line engineering managers in you conducting kind of the first round past the recruiter screen, I'm assuming, right? The first round kind of technical screen in place of where you might use a hacker rank or something along those lines. You're getting a kind of a human evaluation done.
So kind of yes and kind of no. So companies are using it in multiple ways. By the way, HackerRank has also used our product to solve their own hiring process. What happens is that a lot of companies, they have removed HackerRank or Codility kind of platforms. I'm going to come to your question, Mike. A lot of companies have moved from HackerRank or Codility platforms to interview as a service, and the reason is simple: provide great candidate experience and understand the candidate better, because automated tests are not able to understand the thought process of the candidate and other things. They're just able to validate, hey, the answer was right or wrong, nothing else. That is one. Then there are other companies as well who are using us after HackerRank or after Codility kind of platforms as well. Because even, let me ask you one question, if anyone can answer. What's the interview to offer ratio if any of you are using HackerRank, Codility, or any other platform? What is your interview to offer ratio? And what do I mean by interview to offer ratio is that how many candidates clear after these tests, how many candidates do you send to your on engineer to get one offer? Anyone wants to answer that question? Cool. Let me answer what I have from my talks with all those 100 recruiters. So it's 10:1 that even after hacker rank or quality, you send 10 candidates to your hiring manager, and you find that, hey, out of those 10, there's just one candidate who is good. Now, why did those 9 candidates clear those tests? Why were they cleared? So hackering doesn't give you that who are the best candidates. On the other hand, our platform does. So it does save time. Yes. Right, Mike. A lot of companies have stopped using them because of ineffectiveness and the candidate experience and other things as well. Again, there was one more question. I am not able to see the chats. Just a second. How is the interview flow developed for each company and role type? Cool. Let me answer this. By the way, any other question I have not answered so far?
I think that was it. And oh,
Cool.
I do have a quick question now. I don't know if you're going to get into this, but I was just wondering, what is the validation of the actual technical interview throughout the process? So, we as a company do our own interviews, and I know the number one question would be, what's the validation of the people that are actually conducting the interview?
How do I trust the interviewer?
Okay, you're going to answer that question. Sorry. Yeah.
No, so the question is, how do I validate the validator, right? How do I trust the interviewer who is from outside, right? I'll answer that as well. So that will come during the demo phase. I'll just cover this in 5 minutes, and then I'll come to the demo part as well.
Sorry about that.
And to your question, Mike, that will also get covered during the demo. How companies are able to customize the process when you come on board. How do we create a customized process for you? Just so far, what we do is that companies can schedule interviews and at scale and bulk. Companies are able to reduce their hiring time from 60 days to just 20 days or 15 days. So they are able to save almost 60 to 66% of their time right now. And that means in the current world, when you are chasing all the best engineers, you need to move fast. So coming to next. Why no? I have answered this, but again, so what we need is that all the solutions that are being used right now is those that were developed in the era of 2010 to 2015, but there has not been much innovation after that. And why recruiters need is the new solutions is because they want speed, but they want accuracy and great candidate experience. If you're dropping any one of them, you're not going to be able to solve tech hiring for that. And especially tech hiring, because that is more niche and that's where the major competition is. Again, that's my expertise. That's where I am building. Okay, I don't know why this is not coming up. But yeah, so this is the traction we have. In the last 5 years, we have closed 10,000 plus roles, have conducted 120,000 plus interviews, saved 75% of engineering time, and we have helped companies hire 66% faster. Our numbers are, if we are sending you 4 candidates out of 4, at least 1 will get an offer. There are companies where there are case studies where we have sent them just 2 or 3 candidates and they have been able to make 1 offer. And that is again at scale. It's not just we send them 4, we send them 100, and out of 100, they were able to make 25 offers. So that's how much the hiring managers trust the process. And then there's the cost is also lower because of you don't end up giving inflated salaries because of the pressure and everything. A couple of companies that we're working with, Udacity, Mindical, Fractal, Sanya. There's one more, I'm not remembering which one. Unity, that was there. And 400 plus more companies that we're working with. I don't know why that logo broke off. Logo is not there. The market size is $5 billion plus market of just interview service if I don't include the adjacent markets that we can expand to. And in this market, what is needed is customer obsession, because at the end of the day, companies need is that their hiring should be solved in the fastest way, not the slowest way. Just a second. Our vision is to be a default interviewing layer that where companies are interviewing the candidates in the first round and the second round of interview process through us, and then just sending the top-notch candidates to their hiring manager. This way, recruiters are able to understand the hiring manager. So one of the problems that I have come across a lot is that, to be honest, recruiters complain always about the engineering, the hiring managers of the engineers, that, hey, they're rejecting a lot of good candidates and everything. And the hiring managers complain about that, hey, the recruiters are sending the candidates that are being sourced are not good. The problem is that recruiters, they're not that much technical, and they need a platform which can enable them to understand the engineers, to understand that, hey, because today every candidate has generated their resume through ChatGPT or any other AI platform, and because of that, all resumes looks really good. But what is needed is that, hey, a solution where you can understand understand in depth about the candidate. Now coming to two main questions. First, why not AI interviewer? There's a lot of hype about AI interviewers and everything. Well, you're chasing top 1% talent, and you're going to use a tool for mass recruitment, so that is not going to work. Engineers need real conversations with humans, where obviously it can be assisted. It should be assisted using AI and other things, but and analytics. But it should not. They don't like to be judged by a completely automated solution, a completely AI driven, or be it a hackering or quality like test. What we are doing is we are doing human-led interviews with AI-backed insights. And the problem with automated assessments, like the ones that we have talked, is that people have started cramming, Geeks for Geeks, Glassdoor, and questions from every other platform, and they just code it up there. But it doesn't tell you that, hey, do they know things or not? So that is one problem. And then there is a lot of false negatives and no human judgment. There is already a player. I don't know how many of you know about Carrot. So there is a company which is already in this space, which is a $1 billion company. They are the early entrant in this space. The market leader, but the market is so much big, and there's just one company. So there is a lot of room for competition. And the problem with them is that, they are not that much customer centric. They don't support multiple rounds. Their scale is very much limited. The process is not customizable at all. So it's basically that they have made the process too much enterprisey that a lot of companies are not able to use them. We have been able to move a couple of companies from Carrot to us, but yeah, that's where we are. And obviously the hit success ratio is another important factor. So that's it about the presentation. I'm going to go over through the demo, but any questions so far?
I think we're ready for the demo.
Cool, awesome. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes, we can see the Cook Unity dashboard.
Cool, awesome. So I'll go through the process. Let's say, consider it from scratch that Cook Unity has come up to us, and let's say they said that, hey, we want to hire for an AI engineer, or let's say a SD2 backend engineer. What they will do is that they'll come onto our platform, they'll create a playbook. So each interview, we don't do random interviews. So every interview is structured. We create playbooks for that. And you can, any hiring manager can come onto our platform. They can create playbooks to our platform. So you just have to select, let's say, backend. I'm just going to select a generic category. You can select whichever round that you want to do. Once you do that, you go on to create a guide. Let's say test Sachin. Okay, I didn't add the experience. So, right, I'm just going to go and create a guide. So this is the playbook where you create an interview guide or an interview playbook. You can either choose from one of the playbooks for this also. We have 88 plus templates already for backend for this experience role for problem and solve PSDS round. But again, you can create from scratch as well if you want to. You can select any instruction for the interview. You want to do anything that you want. You can set up the evaluation criteria. You can customize it. You can edit it. Anything that you want to do. You can set up the interview time, duration. It can be a 30-minute, 60-minute, 90-minute, or 130-minute interview. That's a configuration that we have done so far. And you can also define your parameters, and you can customize. You can add your own custom parameters as well if you want to. So let me do it. Let's say I'm going to 6. This is 30. I'm going to select a couple of categories, and I'm going to, you can add any questions so far. And now you come here, let's say you can choose, you can add the languages that you want to conduct this interview on. It can be a Java specific, it can be general as well. And then you pick questions from our question bank. And in our question bank, we give you all the analytics that, hey, this question has been asked, how much time, what's the general time duration to complete this question, and what's the pass rate over the last couple of months of over the data that we have. So you can create a playbook like this. It takes 5 minutes to create a guide, or a playbook. I'm going to show you one of the playbooks. So this is for head of. So this is one of the playbooks. You can, like they have set up the things here. These are the questions that they have added. You can go and see what are the type of questions. Again, I'm not going to bore you. This is generally what the hiring manager does. One thing important, what you can do is you can add pre-interview setup. So anything that you add up here will be sent to the candidate so that they are ready to, they know what the kind of setup they need before the interviews. So this is done. Once this is done, you have created a playbook, you have created a position. It takes 5 to 10 minutes to create one, less than that if you are using already one of the templates. Second, you go on to schedule an interview. To the question, who are these interviews? How do we trust these interviews? Well, these interviews are working in MAN companies or unicorn startups with experience range from around 8 years till 15 to 16 years of experience. All of these interviews have been vetted by us. We have conducted their multiple rounds of interviews because not every engineer is a good interviewer, right? So we have first taken the technical test, interviewed them, and figured out that, hey, do they have technical knowledge or not? After that, we have asked them to reverse interview us as well to figure out that, hey, how their interviewing skills, and then we have trained them. And even over a period of time, I'll come to your question, Daniel. So over the period of time, we track we call it karma score. We track that, hey, for each interviewer, how many interviews are they doing in a month? Out of them, what is the success rate? Success rate means that how many candidates are they passing, and out of them, how many are getting an offer? How is the candidate experience? And 10 other things. Based on that, we create a karma score for every interviewer. And if any interviewer's karma score drops below a certain threshold, they are blocked from the platform. They can't conduct interviews more unless they have, we have to do a manual push for that. So that is how we maintain the interviewers' quality. Obviously, every hiring manager has their questions. So initially, when they get onboarded, they want to talk to the one or two of the interviewers, and we do enable them. Second, the interviews that we do, all of them are transparent. So we record all of these interviews like this call is, and we share those recordings over the platform. So I'm going to show you that as well. So coming here, just one question was there, right? Are there questions to be drawn from that are calibrated by level, or do we create our own from scratch based on that information showed? So you can pick questions from our database. You can upload your own questions as well. It's completely customizable. You can do it anyway. Also, we have helped the customers who sometimes a lot of hiring managers, they don't know, because a lot of their questions are leaked on Glassdoor and other platforms, right? So they do come up with that, hey, these are the things that we want to test, and we do help them create new questions as well. So it's more like a consulting plus product so that the customers get best value. So once you have done that, you go on to schedule interviews. It's as simple as that. You just go on. By the way, the platform is integrated with ATSs with Greenhouse Level, so and other ATSs. So in case you don't have to do all of these manual steps, I'm just going to show you. So you scan. So it's more like we send them a Calendly link. I'm going to upload a random resume. Just again, I can skip the resume. Search in and edit. I.com. Let's say I am going to choose backend. You can add any person that you want to keep in CC. And if you want to schedule an interview, you can do it here. So you will see the slots over here. Again, to the time zone that you have. So it will show you slots. Right now, it's not showing much, but yes, this is a demo account. So you will not see much of the slots here right now. Coming back, how it shows is, so you're going to see all the interviews here, and this is going to get reflected on your ATSs as well. So right now, these are some of the interviews that we have that are there. Just going to click on this. So this is some of the feedback reports. So this is how the feedback would look like over the interview that the candidate was ready for. These are the on different skills, how did the candidate do in depth analysis you will get. Also, any questions that, hey, why did the candidate was rejected and everything. The question that was asked, the code that was written by the candidate, and any positives, the approach given by the candidate, positives, neutrals, negatives. So until now, what used to happen was that hiring manager used to give that, hey, just 2 or 3 lines about the candidate, that the candidate didn't do good in this and this and this, or we didn't get the vibe from the candidate. We are not hiring for vibe here. We are hiring for technical skills, and that's the reason each one of us needs that. What are the things that candidate is good on, or what are the things that the candidate is not good on. So based on that, you should be able to compare between different candidates as well, and you get the entire recording of the interview as well. So you can see the recording anytime you want. Any questions so far? So coming to the next flow, I think one of the most important thing is that, hey, what's the success ratio, which I've already covered, but how's the candidate experience? Because they are going to get interviewed by someone outside the company. Well, we call it candidate happiness index. It's one and the same thing. So these are the ratings over the last couple of interviews that we have done for this. So candidates have rated us 4.78 on a scale of 5. So this is how the numbers, and our average across all of our customers is somewhere around 4.5. So that's how the candidate experience is. You can schedule interviews within days, not months anymore, and make the entire process faster. So with this, I think I've got most of the things, and yeah, that's it. Do you have any metric? Just a second, I'm going to switch back to my screen. For users to know pass-through rates based on rating, that is, those pass-fail need to be faster. So what we have seen is that a lot of companies over a period of time, so we rate any candidate on a scale of 1 to 10. But as a recruiter, as a hiring manager, you can define is that, hey, 7 or below is a reject. By default, we put it 5 or below as a reject. And what we have seen is that candidates that we rate 9 and 10, they have much higher chances in clearing all the interviews versus 7 and 8 and versus 6. So a lot of companies who are hiring at scale and who wants the top-notch candidates, they end up, fast tracking 8, 9, 10s first, then 7 and 6. Did I answer your question? Can you?
Are you able to see that in the actual dashboard, Sachin?
What?
Just like the pass-through rate. So if are you able to kind of create your own report? Like, this is how the candidates are doing my pipeline.
Pass-through rates is something that we don't have on the platform right now. So that is something that that is the only manual process that we have, where we have to either get this information from there, because after our interviews, companies does interviews on their own platforms and track all the data in their application tracking systems. And we don't have complete access to sometimes we don't have complete access to their ATSs. We have limited access just for these positions for these interview rounds, nothing more. So for that, we have to get the data, and that is maintained over an Excel sheet right now, but we are working on automating that as well. So that is not something that is not on the platform right now.
Got it. So really right now, you can still see though, if like what your pass-through rate is for the initial interview, like what is in InterviewVector. So if you have a candidate, like out of 5 candidates, like 3 of them are moving forward. 3 of them are hitting that, pass-through rate. Okay.
Yep. So we are just maintaining it right now manually instead of the platform, but we are working on the automating that as well.
Awesome.
And then Sachin, I don't know if I missed it, but I didn't hear how you validate the actual technical interviews. I didn't hear that part. So sorry, but
no worries.
Already.
No worries. So 2 things there. First, the entire process of why the question is because hiring manager will not trust the interview. So I will answer that first, and then the second part. The hiring manager will not trust the interviews, and that's the reason we have kept the process transparent, that you have the interview recordings of each and every interview. So you have the entire audio, video, anything that the candidate wrote will be over the videos. That is one. Now, how do we validate these interviews? We validate them through a process of when we are onboarding these interviewers, we conduct a multiple interview rounds. So we have right now 500 plus interviewers on our platform, registered on the platform, and we have interviewed them multiple times to first understand that do they have technical knowledge or not. Second, we have asked them to interview our own team as well to figure out their interviewing capabilities. And even after that, once they start taking interviews for our customers, we track them that, hey, how many interviews are they doing? How many candidates are they passing? How's the candidate experience? And out of those candidates that they're passing, how many candidates are the company is making an offer? If that is a healthy ratio, that means things are going good. And we do audit checks of all these interviews, not all, but 20 to 25% of the interviews every month gets audited as well, since we have the recordings and everything. So through this, we maintain the quality of the interviews. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, but and let me just, I'm always curious about this stuff. So are these your own employees? Are you basically hiring consultants to conduct the interviews on the platform?
So these are consultants. They are people who are working in different companies. And
Gotcha.
someone might be working at Scale AI, someone might be working at Meta, someone might be working at Mindtical or any other company, or DoorDash, or any other company. And these are people who are registered on our platform after this robust process. And then they spend almost 15 to 20 hours every month with us.
Okay, I got you.
So it's a freelancing. It's not they're not on payroll.
Gotcha. All right. Do you have any plans on, bringing on your own, just so that you can, guarantee a consistent, product? Because this is your business. It's going to, if you're obviously going to scale. The product looks appeasing. I'm just wondering, like, future state, are you planning on hiring full-time interviewers, since this is your?
So to be honest, it's similar to Uber. So Uber doesn't have their own drivers. It's generally people who are working at someone else, and they are registering on Uber. Drivers are registering on Uber. So it's similar. We don't want to have people full-time. The reason being, then you have too many liabilities and others, and we wanted to keep a very light asset model. In terms of the consistency and experience, we have done more than 120,000 interviews in the last couple of years, and we have been able to maintain the quality.
Okay.
So far, to be honest, the problem has not arrived yet. But again, since I'm running a startup, you never know the day it comes, and we might need to change that, right?
Totally understand, and I appreciate the transparency, and I like the comparison to Uber. Yeah. Thank you.
That's the question. Do you have interviews collaborated by level? Say you're only hiring senior folks, so you only want to work them on intermediate to difficult questions and not easy ones, whereas more juniors. Yes. So I didn't go. So the demo was supposed to take us. The demo alone could take around 30 to 40 minutes. So that's the reason I didn't cover a couple of these things. Obviously, every interview is customized and it is leveled according to the candidate that you're hiring. If you're hiring a junior person, SD1 and SD2, the process will be different. Even if the questions are same, the depth that is needed from the candidate will be different in both the questions. You can have a very simple architecture problem from if you're hiring a junior folk, but the same question can become much more complex if you're interviewing a senior folk. So accordingly, our playbooks are designed according to that, and the questions are like that only. You can choose that, hey, we want medium to hard complexity questions or the easy questions, and even how much depth is needed from the questions as well. So the interviews gets calibrated according to the roles. Does that answer
Hey,
the question?
Sachin, how are you?
Hey, I'm a long time no see.
Long time no see. For those in the room that don't know, many moons ago, I ran a business that was a direct competitor of this one. So I am biased. I know the space, and I'm going to throw you a question that I always used to get, and I never had a good answer to. I would finesse my way through it, but I'm curious how you would answer it. So as you know, interviewing is not predictive, right? Like it's non-standardized. It's highly chaotic in the sense of every interviewer is different. They ask different sets of questions. Obviously you mitigate that by bringing in really great interviewers at really great companies. That kind of helps sets the bar a little bit in terms of understanding that this is a good interview, but how do you maintain quality control, right? How do you ensure that the interviewer is actually doing a good job? How do you know that the candidate is actually having a really great interviewing experience? What have you done inside the platform from a product perspective to kind of give me those guarantees as a hiring manager? Obviously, interviewing is a two-way street, right? I want people to have a great experience. So yeah, I'm kind of curious how you address that.
So I'll answer these two parts and I'll add one more thing later as well. Cool. So what we have done is that in terms of maintaining the candidate experience or in terms of maintaining the quality, let me come to the quality first. First of all, the entire process has been standardized. Earlier, what used to happen is that each engineer would have different interviews, different questions. And if you send the same candidate to do two different interviews, one might reject them and the other might pass that candidate, right? Since the process is standardized, now the possibility of uneven question levels is not there. That is one. Second, on top of it, what we have done is we track that how the questions are performing as well. In terms of quality control from a hiring manager perspective, first of all, is what I'm answering. What happens is that, for example, let's say I'm hiring at scale. I'm hiring for a general backend engineer, which comes every now and then. And I have a standard set of questions. What we have done is we have in the playbook when we create, we have 10 to 20 questions there. You add 10 to 20. And in a round robin manner, those questions get shown to the interviewer and they ask those questions. Obviously, all of these questions were solved by the interviewers first when they were getting onboarded, else they will not be able to conduct those interviews. That is number one criteria. But now we are assuming that, hey, the interviewers are there who have solved all of these questions. So they know all those 20 questions, and based on the round robin manner, we show them the questions. Second, we track the analytics as well, that, hey, which questions are performing as well. For example, if a certain question, there might be a case that, hey, certain questions are performing right now, but certain questions are not, those questions are not performing next week. And the reason might be simple, that these questions gets leaked on Glassdoor and other platforms. So first we track that, hey, are these questions, what are the analytics looking like? That are candidates clearing all those questions, and how are those candidates performing in the next round of interviews, or are they clearing the getting an offer in the company or not? Based on that, these questions gets ranked as well. And we do scrap Geeks for Geeks and other platforms to figure out that, hey, have someone answer that, hey, these are the top questions getting asked at DoorDash or not, right? So that is how we maintain the quality control to make sure that the interview process is consistent. The questions are working. Second, in terms of candidate experience, let me cover the second part. That how do we make sure that these interviews are doing the right job on? Also, the candidate experience is something that I'll comment the third. So we record all of these interviews, as I said earlier, and almost 20 to 25% of these interviews gets audited every month. And they don't get audited randomly. After the interviews are done, we send a candidate experience form to the candidates to collect their feedback, hey, how the interview experience has been. And there has been cases where they have given us negative review. There has been a lot of cases where they have given a positive review. Based on a lot of factors at how the candidate experience, what is the passing percentage of the interviewer? Is it is this person a new interviewer or not? Or is this person conducting for a new position, or this is entirely a new position, right? Based on that, these interviews gets audited. These interviews get selected and we audit them. Obviously, we use a lot of AI and human both. We don't just rely on one thing. So because to be honest, I do want to make it double. I do want to double check to make sure that things are working right. That is one, to make sure that these interviews are doing the right job. And then we do track their karma score, which I explained earlier. I don't know you were there during that time or not. Third is about the candidate experience. As I said earlier, we collect the experience after the interviews because we have audited so many of these interviews and everything. Even during the interviews, when these interviewers take these interviews, they get things like that, hey, what are the questions that they want to ask and how do they ice break during the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And we have trained them. This part is manual, where we have trained them that, hey, how do you conduct those interviews in a graceful manner so that the candidates don't, even if they are getting rejected, they don't get offended. They really like the interview and love the interview process. But in future, the plan is to have prompts in the platform itself to even, for example, let's say if there has been too much silence or there is a nudge needed or anything like that, the interview should be able to do that.
Sachin, do you think AI interviews are your biggest competitor?
To be honest, not. If I was in frontline hiring, yes, for sure. We are working in tech hiring right now, and engineers. HackerRank and other platforms, they got introduced in early 2010 to 2015. But still, most of the companies don't use them, or they just use them as the first filter just to screen resumes, not actually test. So every company, take any example or any company's name who is using HackerRank and tell me that if they are not doing a manual interview after that. So what AI interviews are going to replace is they are going to replace, and this is my take, that they are going to replace HackerRank and Codelities of the world to screen the candidates. But after that, engineers will need very personalized experience. And second, for senior candidates, they don't want to give even automated tests or AI interviews. So a lot of companies you will see who are building AI interviews, see any company's website pitch deck, they are selling it to the frontline hiring, not for the tech hiring part.
Thank you.
Our biggest competitor is going to be generally I would say the in-house interviews. So because it's a shift, companies are using, they have a way that, hey, we can use our own engineers' time at any point of time, but generally it slows down the process. But moving from that to this is a huge shift, and that's what we are fighting right now.
Hey, Sachin, I want to make sure we also have some time for you to ask our group questions as well. I know we've got about 10 minutes left. Any questions for the group? I think we can answer for you.
Good. So I would want to know, again, I have just talked to Amir one time earlier, and this is my second time talking to him. So would want to know how the Syelo tank works. And Ali, if anyone can answer. And probably the second question would be, have you guys talked to any of the talent assessment companies, and what's your take on that? The companies are coming up right now.
I don't know about personally for the rest of the group. We've had a couple of kind of more, I would say like AI type interview assessment companies come through Syelo Tank. I think general assessment for us on the AI interview side is that we feel like we can do better personally. So I think, it's a tricky space. Recruiters like to interview. That's what we're good at. And I think the engineering interview has always been a sticky point for a lot of companies, right? We don't want to take up engineering time. We also, as recruiters, as technical as we can be, most of us can't evaluate technical skills in that sense. So, and a lot of us have used HackerRank and tools like that in the past. They don't typically show a lot of effectiveness, like we mentioned before. So I think a big thing that we've had to create is make scalable processes internally for our engineers to evaluate, which is, again, tricky. We don't want to take up too much of their time. So we have to create something that is scalable that we can kind of automate and do on our own. So this is kind of one of the first tools I think I've seen that would be in that realm. But I won't speak for the rest of the group.
And have you guys, cool, so I'm assuming that no one is adding on to this question. So have you guys explored platforms to, instead of interview as a service, internally, I would say, scheduling tools which would track your engineers' engineer skills, that hey, how they're conducting interviews, are those interviews effective or not, or is there any bias or not? Any tools like that?
Session, you're asking if we've seen scheduling tools that evaluate an interviewer's past performance against things like bias?
Kind of like that. Not scheduling. We can say just monitoring tools, where the tools which are monitoring your own engineers' effectiveness.
I don't want to speak for the whole group. I have not seen a tool that monitors interviews and I guess maybe the closest is BrightHire. That might be one that might be close to what you're saying, but I don't know if that's how they even view themselves. I don't think they view themselves as an interview monitoring performance tool. So that's my answer. I don't know if anyone in the group has seen something different.
Cool. I think that's it from my side. I didn't have much questions. I'm obviously, if I have questions, I'll ping Amir and Sabrina to you offline. But yeah, I don't have much questions.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for stopping by and presenting today, Sachin. We as a group evaluate all of these in real time. So we'll share this recording with the rest of the group as well. And then at the end of the month, so next week, we'll have more of a formal vote, and we'll talk about the tools that we saw this month. But we also fill out a form, so we'll send you any feedback that we get along the way. But really appreciate you dropping by. Thanks so much.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Thanks for your time.
Sachin.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.